So this grammar is going to be focused on the present perfect and simple past. And the reason why I selected this chapter for us to cover is students sometimes get confused between the two tenses. So we're going to be covering them. This is the form. So with present perfect, we use have or has, and what we call the past participle. Some students know it as verb 3. And then the simple past, we just use the past form of the verb, right? And that's it. So there's a difference between how the two are used. Let's go over the notes on page 146. So the first one says, grammar note 1, present perfect or simple past with for. It says use present perfect with, the present perfect with for has a very different meaning from the simple past with for. It says use the present perfect to show something began in the past and continues into the present and may continue into the future. She has lived in the United States for more than 30 years. So that means she moved to the United States 30 years ago, and until now she still lives there and possibly into the future. So here we have the present perfect. The second sentence, it says use a simple past to show that something happened in the past and has no connection to the present. So this is something that started and ended in the past. She lived in the Philippines for 14 years. She lived there until 1985, but she no longer lives there. So as you can see, this is started and ended in the past. So just keep in mind when we use the simple past with for, that means the action is already finished. But if we use the present perfect with for, that means the action started in the past, but it's still not finished. Okay? Now the next note, it says indefinite time or specific time in the past. Use the present perfect to show that something happened at an indefinite time in the past. The exact time is not known or not important. So let's look at the example. They have decided to write another book. So we see this happened at some time in the past, but we don't know when it happened. It says we don't know when they made the decision, or the time the decision was made is not important. So we use it to talk about sometime in the past, but we don't really give a specific date. In that case, we use the present perfect. And then here, the second note says, use the simple past to show that something happened at a specific time in the past. The exact time is known and often included. She wrote her first book in 2001. We know the exact time and it is important information. So in this case, see, we have a specific time and it's important information, so it's included. So most of the time when we have a date, especially when we have in, make sure that you're using the simple past. Okay? The next part, it says do not use the present perfect with a specific time in the past. The only exception is with since. So just like that note I said, I lived in Manila in 2007, we have to use past simple because we have in. But if we have since, we should use present perfect. So make sure you understand the rule. With in, make sure that you use simple past. With since, use present perfect. And then our last note, it says here, unfinished, number 3, unfinished time or finished time. Use the present perfect to show that something happened in a time period that is unfinished, such as today, this morning, this month, this year. Her publisher has called 3 times today. Today isn't finished, and it's possible that the publisher will call again. For example, right now I'm recording this video and it is 5:08. So one thing I can say is my mom has called me 4 times today. So that means during the day, my mom called me 4 times, but the day's not over yet, right? It's 5 o'clock right now, so she might actually call me another time. So in that case, we use present perfect because this is not finished, okay? But if I say something about this morning, what will I use? I'm gonna use the simple past because the morning is finished. It's 5 o'clock. So I might say something like, this morning I drank 5 cups of coffee. So just make sure you understand when we use each one. Use a simple past to show that something happened in a time period that is finished, such as yesterday, yesterday morning, last month, or last year. Her publisher called her 3 times yesterday. So that means, yesterday is over. It's done. So we have to use the simple past. Some time expressions such as this morning, this month, or this year can refer to an unfinished or finished time period. Use the present perfect if the time period is unfinished. Use a simple past if the time period is unfinished. So, for example, it's 10 a.m. She's had 3 cups of coffee this morning. The morning isn't finished, right? Because it's 10 a.m. So right now she had 3 cups of coffee, but she might have more coffee. So we have to use present perfect. It's 1 p.m. She had 3 cups of coffee this morning. The morning is finished. She can't drink any more cups of coffee in the morning, right? Because it's afternoon now. So we have to use the past simple here. Those are the rules for this new grammar that we're going to be studying. So make sure that you review your notes and, watch this video as often as you need so that you understand the instructions for completing the grammar exercises. Let's continue on here, page 147, focus practice. It says, discover the grammar notes 1 to 3. Read the information about Melissa de la Cruz, then choose the sentence A or B that best describes the situation. Melissa de la Cruz was born in the Philippines in 1971. She lived there until she moved to the United States. So she lived in the Philippines for 14 years. We have to use the past, right? Because she lived there, but now she lives in the United States. So this action is over. So we have to use past simple. She doesn't live in Philippines. She moved to the United States in 1985. She still lives there. She's lived in the United States for more than 30 years. So this action is not finished, right? It says she still lives there since 1985. So make sure here we use the present perfect. She was a computer programmer for 9 years. She had a job as a computer programmer for 9 years. So this is in the past. Before she was a computer programmer, now she's a writer, right? From the article that we read. So this has to be in the past, not this one, because this doesn't make sense. She can't be a computer programmer right now because she's a writer now. She has always loved to read. Her love of books started early. She didn't love books until she became an adult. It's A, right? It says she has always loved to read. That means all her life. So we have to choose A for that one. On the next page. At first, many publishers rejected her books. She was not successful, right? She has not been successful. That's not true because in the beginning she was not successful, but after that she actually became successful. So when we say this one, that makes it seem like from the past until now she's not successful, which doesn't make sense. In 2013, she returned to the Philippines for a book signing tour. She was there for a few weeks. She only went for the tour, which means that she was only there for a short time and then she came back to the United States. So we have to use the past simple. If we use this one, that means she went to the Philippines and she's still there, which doesn't make any sense. In 2002, she married architect Michael Johnston. The couple is still married. The couple has been married for many years. It's this one, right? They are still married until now. So make sure that you're using the present perfect because it started in the past and it continues until now. They write books together. They have written books together for a while. So it's this one, right? Because here it's still happening. They still write the books. So it started in the past. It continues until now. Number 9, their books sell all over the world. Their books have been a great success. This one. It's A, because they're still writing the books. This action is still happening from the past until now. So we have to choose A for that one. It's April and they are on the 3rd book signing tour. They've been on several trips this year. We have to use this year because the year is not over, right? It says here it's April. That means they might go on other book signing tours in the next few months. So the year is not over. We have to use present perfect. So make sure that you check your answers for that exercise.